How awful.
You so cute. You so cute. You so cute. You is it girl. You're so cute.
Wow. That's
Isn't that special?
an HR issue, I think, probably.
Why? I'm singing a positive,
It's
happy.
sexual harassment. You're singing about how cute she is.
Oh, yeah. I was like, there's literally nothing negative about what I said about her.
You said, you're so cute. And how do you think that makes the other workers feel?
Moosh, why are you on the table?
He's a liability issue. She's an HR issue. Moosh, you're a liability.
Ugh, let's not talk
Sorry
about
if you hear the ice in my glass. I didn't think that through.
You must be B. Well, I'm Tanya Lee.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair. Sorry if you guys heard scratchies on the last episode. I really tried to fix it.
She tried so hard, guys. You have no idea. She spent her whole Saturday trying to get rid of that.
We did a test today, and hopefully you guys should be in the clear.
What's your shirt?
It says "Fight Like a Girl,"
and it has, let's see, Malala.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
I can't tell who these two are.
Wait, well, that's Frida Kahlo.
Is it? Oh yeah, that is Frida.
I think that's.
Who's she?
Is that Angela Davis?
Oh yeah, it's not very good drawing.
It's not. No.
This is Mamala.
That's Mamala,
This
and
is
then you
Greta.
got Greta, and then you got RBG.
RBG. Yeah, I recognize.
Yeah, I think
a few
that's
of
Angela
these.
Davis in the middle.
It must be. I actually tried Googling it because I was like, I want to know who's on my shirt because
I just like saying Malala and Kamala.
they are great.
Yeah, they're great, and I
Very
like saying it.
Inspiring women. Anyway, I'm wearing a shirt that says "Fight Like a Girl" and it has a bunch of badass ladies on it that are fighting for our futures.
Where are you? Why aren't you on that shirt?
I'm on top of it. I'm sticking out the top.
Hello. Yeah, that's true.
I'm like a turtle.
You are the main character. Don't do it.
Or like a whack-a-mole.
She just put her head back in the shirt and then popped it out. She's on one today, guys.
Yeah, my boss was like, "You're hyper today."
Your boss, like she isn't one of your best friends.
And then she was like, "You're high kicking everywhere." And I kept trying to race her. She didn't want to race, so I kept winning, which was great for me.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah. I won 3 races today. Well, here we are. B and I have officially committed to dry January, which has been very difficult.
Yeah, it's day 4, and I hate it.
It's surprisingly difficult.
Yeah.
But I think...
I'm not saying I have a drinking problem by any means, because I only drink maybe twice a week.
Totally.
Three times if we're feeling saucy.
Yeah, it's because we don't have the option to.
Here's the painful part, okay? We're already in a pandemic where there really isn't any reward as is. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you go to sleep. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you go to sleep. You're not having social interaction.
Right.
You're not getting to go out to dinner or movies or really do anything enjoyable.
Yeah.
So right now, I mean, my weeks were punctuated with, okay, Wednesday's my Friday.
Right.
So Wednesday night, I get to have some wine, and it's the end of my week, and the wine is my reward.
Yes.
And, we drink wine with the podcast, and that was a reward for, getting to the podcast, doing the work for that.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's just no freaking reward.
I'm here.
No.
Can I be your reward?
No.
Oh, don't yell at me. Jeez, you're going to hurt my feelings.
You can't be my reward. You've been my reward for 24 years.
Well, that's good at least.
Need a new reward.
We do. We need to figure out a new... we should have some wassail.
I don't want it.
Oh, that's fair. I was trying to treat you.
That's fine. We can have wassail on Wednesday, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be nice. After our Monte Cristos.
Yeah, so that's our new one. Is we're replacing the calories with other stuff.
Yes.
So we're having a Disney night on Wednesday where we're gonna watch Mulan, and I'm gonna make the Disneyland Monte Cristos.
Which, if you have not been to Disneyland in California, next time
the Monte Cristos.
Yeah,
I'm sure they have them at Disney World too.
They probably do. I don't know, but next
because there's New Orleans Square in Disney World too.
Next time you're allowed to go to Disneyland, it's the New Orleans Cafe. It's right next to Pirates. And they have the most amazing Monte Cristo sandwich ever. And then they have these beignets that are shaped like Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
They're so good. It's our favorite thing ever.
And you can get the hot chocolate beignets too. Those are good too. But,
yeah. Fun fact, we're Disney AF.
We are. I'm currently wearing my Disneyland
You are.
Sweatshirt.
We really love Disneyland, and once it's open again, I'm sure you will hear all about our adventures at Disneyland.
A reward. We used to go all the time around her birthday, so it would be all Christmassy.
Yep.
But not cold yet. And
nope.
It's just all of our delights are taken. I got really sad this week about not having my nails done. Like I reached my limit of not getting my nails done. Haven't got my nails done in a year, and it's now I've reached my sadness point.
Yeah. That's Izzy smacking behind us.
She's taking her lunch break.
While literally on the clock.
This is like very loud eater.
It's not like your job is very hard. We work for like an hour and a half on this show, and you decide to munch now?
She's fully munching.
We gave you food an hour ago. You could have eaten then.
No, it's munch time now.
She's like completely ignoring me. It's really disrespectful. I think we should have a conversation later about...
I think it's past conversation. Izzy, you're fired.
Yeah. Izzy, the future of your employment is...
lying on whether you stop munching.
It's glum.
She didn't stop.
It's very glum.
Yep.
Oh, well, anyway, should we kick it off with a little adventure into lore? It off.
Yep. It's lore. Tanya's got lore. I have paranormal.
I'm going to get comfortable for a second. All right, so...
Tell me about lore.
Have you ever heard of the Bridgewater Triangle?
No.
Okay. So, it's often referred to as a tear in the veil to other realities.
What?
It's a 200-square-mile territory of southeastern Massachusetts, between Abington to the north, Freetown on the southeast corner, and Rehoboth on the southwest corner. Shout out to our friend Tom, who is from this state.
Wait, what state?
Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. I want to go to Massachusetts.
Yeah, I do too. Really, Cape Cod. That's where he's from.
My mom will hate me for this. I really want to go to Cape Cod.
Yeah.
But that's one of the states that she just, God bless her, cannot pronounce. She knows she can't.
How does she say it?
Massachusetts.
Oh, that's cute though.
It's cute.
I like that.
It's adorable.
Well, that's where the Bridgewater Triangle can be found, is Massachusetts. Back in 1675, this region of New England was known as Plymouth Colony. The local Native Americans revolted against the oppression placed upon them by the English settlers in a war a very well-known war that became known as King Philip's War. It was the bloodiest war per capita in U.S. history. Wampanoag chief Metacom, also known to the English as King Philip, was hung and beheaded, and his head left displayed on a pike for 20 years at Fort Plymouth.
Sure.
By war's end, 3,000 Native Americans had been killed, many of which being innocent men, women, and children. Many believe a Native American curse is the reason for the mysterious activity within the triangle. All right, so now I'm going to tell you why this triangle is so infamous.
Okay.
All right, so first I'm going to tell you about a region called Hockomock Swamp.
That's a fun word.
There's like little nuggets within the Bridgewater Triangle. It's kind of a big idea, so bear with me. So the Hockomock Swamp, which is Hockomock Swamp.
One more time.
Do you want to try it?
Hockomock.
Hockomock.
I like it.
It's cool, right?
It feels fun in my mouth, like Pop Rocks.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
So Hockomock Swamp, which is located between Easton and West Bridgewater. Hockomock, meaning place where spirits dwell. Over 1,000 Native American graves live within the swamp. People traveling through the woods surrounding the swamp claim an unsettling feeling of being watched, have reported seeing cryptids like ape-like bipeds, thunderbirds, Mothman, snakes the length of trees, giant cats, red-eyed dogs with the ability...
I'm sorry.
I'm still going.
Snakes the length of trees?
Mm-hmm. Red-eyed dogs with the ability to rip horses to shreds.
What?
And even Bigfoot himself.
Oh, gosh.
A police officer claims that Bigfoot lifted the back of his cruiser with its bare hands. Carlston Wood claims that in 1970, a group of boys and girls went deep into the swamp exploring, and someone began to scream. As they turned to look at what they were screaming at, they all got a glimpse of Bigfoot.
Sure.
They all validate that they saw the same creature.
Is Bigfoot a cryptid, technically?
Technically, I think so, yeah.
I think, yeah.
I'm no expert, even though I host a podcast that covers this as a topic.
That makes us think more experts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you done?
Izzy.
Oh, are you mad that we fired you?
You're still fired.
Now you're talking back? You're already fired. You're fired again.
You double fired.
Wow, rude.
She's on a roll.
She's beating herself.
She's on a roll.
Stop hitting me. Okay. HR. Why are you looking at me? It's never going to get through this.
No.
William Rousseau in the 1980s was working a 3 p.m. to midnight shift. After his shift, he would take his dog on a late night walk. This is my favorite story.
Okay.
I should have saved it for last, but I'm doing it now. Because we're still in Hockomock Swamp.
Hockomock.
As he was walking
Make more noise.
Izzy, shh.
I dare you.
I'm telling a spoopy story.
It's about Hockomock.
You're gonna not like this story. Okay. So as he was walking past a bright streetlight, his dog Sammy was pulling at his leash and shaking intensely. He finally heard what was scaring his dog. It was a high-pitched voice saying, "I want you. Here. Here."
What? Please, what? Say it normal.
I want you.
I want you.
Here. Here.
Kier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What do you think that kind of sounds like? We'll come back to
Me
it.
want you, kill.
Close.
Okay.
He suddenly sees something walk into the light. And it's upright, 3 to 4 feet tall, with a little pot belly,
Cute.
unclothed,
Ah,
completely covered in hair, face similar to a chipmunk,
cute.
and it continued to speak incessantly. I want you. Here.
You're really enjoying this part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I loved this story.
Okay.
What he witnessed is something known as a pukwudgie.
A what?
Pukwudgie.
Say it one more time.
Pukwudgie. There's a lot of fun words in this one.
Pukwudgie.
It's a creature that lures humans and often walks you off the side of the cliff to your death.
I would follow that pukwudgie.
So as he was saying, "I want you," he was beckoning with his hand. But obviously, that was too freaky, so Mr. Rousseau was not having it. But "I want you," we want you.
We want you.
Here, come here.
Oh.
Come here.
Okay. That's close.
Creepy.
With the first part.
Yes. I have heard of pukwudgies before.
I kind of want to name an animal pukwudgie.
Puck. That makes sense for
This
me.
is
but...
pukwudgie.
But yeah, many disappearances have also occurred around the Hockomock Swamp, like that of Evelyn Packard, whose footsteps were seen seemingly vanishing, then her body found in a nearby stream.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so another portion of the Bridgewater Triangle is Lake Nippenicket. I know. Which is located on the edge of Hockomock Swamp, so it's kind of adjacent.
Uh-huh.
It's a popular sighting spot for Bigfoot, as well as a red-haired orangutan-like creature at the corner of the Nippenicket Island. A woman reported that she saw a fire on the other side of the lake, so she approached it, and then there was no fire when she reached there. So she went back to the other side of the lake, and again, the phantom fire was still there. A lot of freak accidents occur on the lake, like drowning, even though it's only 8 feet deep.
Yeah, that's definitely deep enough. People drown in bathtubs.
That's true. But, I mean, many drownings, you could think that you could reach the bottom and kick off, right?
Yeah.
For air. That's the idea, at least.
Yeah.
It is also known for its sightings of spook lights.
Spook lights?
Which are unexplained balls of light floating around, seemingly intelligent. James Michael Rice witnessed these lights with some friends. They thought a canoe with a lantern inside was approaching them, but soon saw 3 lights the size of baseballs, alternating in colors, red, blue, orange, calling out the colors to each other as they saw them changing. Then eventually they faded out upstream.
This is just making me want to go to there.
UFOs.
What?
In 1908, the first reporting of a UFO sighting to date was reported by 2 carriage-riding undertakers. They witnessed an unusually bright lantern, as they called it, in the skies above the region. The 1970s were a very active period of documented sightings. 2, this is a very popular story, by the way.
Okay.
So for those UFO fans out there, you probably have heard this one. 2 WHDH radio reporters from Boston, Jerry Lopes and Steve Spraccia, saw a home plate-shaped UFO with red lights and a front headlight in West Bridgewater in 1979. So these are radio hosts. Mm-hmm. So they see these red lights and they park the car and watch the craft move towards them, passing overhead. With a beaming light, it hovered and then zipped away. Both of them were skeptics.
The UFO has zoomies?
Yes. They spent many conversations trying to understand what they had just seen. Over the course of the next week, reportings of similar sightings came forward.
Mm-hmm.
They then decided to come forward as well. Ron Baker claims to have seen a similar type UFO while working at a steakhouse. Pulling up in the parking lot, saw the same UFO about the size of 2 football fields, heard a humming noise, and still can't explain what it was he witnessed. Derek Holt witnessed...
It was Lord. Bad joke.
Oh, I see.
It was Lord.
I see. We're on a Lord theme today. Not the Lord and Savior. We're talking Lord with an E.
Lordy.
Our Lord.
Her Lord.
My Lord. You like her.
I do, but she's yours.
She is mine. Derek Holt witnessed a UFO in the sky and captured video footage of his sighting, flashing blue, red, green, pulsating lights. Now, I tried to find video footage of this besides the source that I used, which was it was like in the documentary. I couldn't find like a YouTube clip of this, but it's really creepy.
I'm sure.
Anyway, Dighton Rock is obviously a rock.
Oh, I was hoping that was a person.
No.
Oh, okay.
Dighton Rock is a rock that has been lifted out of the water, and it holds mysterious ancient writings on it. There are several theories, but no one actually knows what it says or who wrote it.
Wonder Woman.
But it's just part
Is that one of the theories?
Could be.
Wonder Woman.
But that's part of the allure of the Bridgewater Triangle.
Okay.
Anawan Rock, which exists in Rehoboth, is a hotspot for sightings of phantom campfires and ghosts of Native Americans.
Huh.
The sounds of drums beating, hearing people speaking Algonquin are often things people experience here. An elderly Native American man's apparition has been seen standing on the top of the rock. Luann Jolly, who's a paranormal investigator, was face to face with this elderly apparition, believed to be Chief Anawan. Yes.
Okay.
Who was captured at the site of the rock in 1676 and whose head was also placed on a pike for 20 years.
Jeez.
Okay, so this is a great lore story.
Okay.
The red-headed hitchhiker is one of the eeriest legends of Route 44. It is said that a man with a big ginger beard, a plaid flannel shirt, and jeans is often seen on the side of the road near the Rehoboth-Seekonk town line. He is said to get into cars only to disappear and manipulate radios.
Oh, sounds like Resurrection Mary.
This sounds like
there's different
lore similar to From Back Home for us.
Which I'm sure one of us will get to.
Yeah,
eventually.
which is why I found this one really interesting. He has sparked many classic urban legend tropes. Like, if you pull up at the intersection, honk 3 times, and turn your headlights off and on again, he'll appear.
No.
Or if you have 3 passengers in the car, he'll appear as the 4th passenger in the back seat.
No.
An unnamed witness had a first-hand encounter with the red-haired hitchhiker. He was driving down Route 44 in a snowstorm and had his windshield wipers going, and the face of the red-haired hitchhiker appeared in the left-hand corner of his windshield as he was driving through the area. Rehoboth, like we've discussed, has many a haunting. It is one of the oldest settlements in U.S. history, as it was first settled in 1636. It has a higher number than average amount of cemeteries within its borders. The many cemeteries are extremely haunted. Some claim seeing a little boy dancing among the headstones, saying he has a sinister quality to him as he asks visitors to not leave the cemetery and ask people to please stay and play with me.
Okay. No thanks.
Demon. Others have seen a woman in white hovering above the stones, a man in dark clothing nicknamed Ephraim, seen in 19th century clothes, sometimes seen pounding at the ground and wailing.
Poor Ephraim.
Yeah, he's
What's
sad,
his
man.
problem?
There's also a vaporous figure seen coming out of the woods, moving around the cemetery. Balls of light floating around the headstones. A soldier running his fingers along the tops of the headstones can be seen walking through the cemetery. Why is that sexy?
It's running his fingers along.
Oh, could be eerie. Could be like menacing.
Do
we have the rights to that?
I promise you that was not spot on.
Brianne Hantzies.
Handsies.
Hantzies.
Handsies.
a paranormal investigator got an EVP recording of a little girl singing a song saying, la, 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 la.
Do you have rights to that?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Sorry. Gonna have to cut it out.
Copyright little girl.
Mike Markowitz, another investigator, left his EVP recorder at the cemetery after he left and caught a woman singing the words, "You won't let me know my love for me."
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And it sounds similar to an old tavern song.
I hate when they sing.
Yeah.
Like, could you just not sing?
No. Rehoboth was also home to 13.
Giggle?
No. Rehoboth was home to 13 schoolrooms back in its early days. Only one still stands, Hornbein School, which was built in the 1840s. A school teacher went to the house to visit, and the shutters were closed. So she went up to it and peeked inside the window. This was so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
She saw a schoolroom with a class full of children, assumed it was a reenactment.
Mm-hmm.
So she went to the door to open it to like watch the reenactment and noticed it was locked. She was like, oh, that's weird. So she went back to the window to be like, hey,
nothing there.
I want to come in. And this time, the teacher at the front of the classroom just stared at her while her and the students faded away.
No, thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
That one scared the bejeebus out of me.
Nope, I would pee a little and then I would run a lottle.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
No. No.
So East Bridgewater is also extremely haunted.
Uh-huh.
Anne Kerrigan, a paranormal investigator, was investigating
Any
historical
relation to
home.
Nancy?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Sorry, Stranger Things.
No, Nancy Kerrigan.
I thought that was Stranger Things.
Oh.
Who's Nancy Kerrigan?
Nancy Kerrigan is the famed ice skater,
Right.
who had a crowbar taken to her knee.
That's why I know her
on
name.
the ice.
For some reason, I just immediately assumed it was Stranger
Why? That's Nancy Kerrigan.
Yes. Okay. So,
sorry.
Anne Kerrigan is a paranormal investigator, and she was investigating a historical home with an EVP recorder. She smelt roses, which was something the family had also claimed to have smelled that lived in the home.
But roses really smell like poo poo poo.
And as she was explaining the rose smell on the recorder, the clear sound of a gunshot can be heard.
What?
But not heard by anyone actually standing in the room.
I hate that.
So they only noticed it after they were listening back to the EVP recording. Mm-mm. And it sounds like...
you listened to it?
Well, yeah, it was in the documentary I watched.
Oh.
It's like a gunshot.
No.
Just like blows through the EVP.
No.
It's creepy.
No.
And nobody notices it. Everyone just keeps talking. And Copacut Road is where the legend of the Mad Trucker exists. When you reach... mad? Because, I don't know.
Okay.
When you reach the dirt road section of Copacut Road, a pickup truck will come out of nowhere behind you, flashing its lights, driving like a maniac, and drive you off the road.
Sounds friendly. I don't know.
It's a phantom pickup truck.
Oh, yeah. I gathered.
Okay. Freetown State Forest has seen an abhorrent amount of criminal activity.
Not abhorrent.
Abhorrent.
Oh.
I chose that word myself because I needed to explain how terrible it was.
Yikes. P.
Many investigators believe there's a sinister atmosphere causing weird occurrences. There have been rumors of satanic cults in the area.
That's just a good time.
After finding sacrificial animals without a drop of blood left to them.
Side note, I saw this thing online today that's like, is anybody going to remark about the fact that Julianne Hough is running a cult? And it showed Julianne Hough giving one of her Kinergy speeches in front of a large audience, and it had very big cult vibes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Anyway, continue. Tanya looks stunned.
I like Julianne Hough.
Yes, well, the people think that she is running a cult. I'll show you after this.
But is it like a happy cult or is it a dangerous
Yeah. I mean, but look at NXIVM. It looked like it was a happy cult. They were just trying to make people feel better, and then they sold people.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Retired Detective Alan Alves used to see people leaving the forest in robes, graffiti saying things like 666, upside down crosses, pentagrams on the rocks and trees. Alves said police found an underground bunker with creepy dolls believed to belong to a satanic couple who were prosecuted for molesting children that they had adopted. Alves was the first officer on the scene at the discovery of a 15-year-old Mary Lou Arruda's headless body after she was kidnapped in 1978 and found dead.
How old?
15.
No.
Yep.
Oh.
And she was found dead in the forest 2 months later, tied to a tree.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure 15-year-olds are supposed to have a head.
Definitely.
I think majority of them have heads. It's an important part.
Yeah, I'd say 100% of them have heads.
Yeah, I think that's a fair percentage. 100% of them have heads.
Good talk.
Yeah.
James Cater was tried and convicted for her murder.
Okay.
In 1979, the remains of Doreen Levasque?
I don't know.
I think it's Levasque. Were found behind the bleachers at a high school nearby, with her hands tied behind her back and her skull crushed.
I almost hate the term remains.
I know.
More than body.
It was determined by the evidence on site that she was used as an offering to Satan.
Okay.
3 months later, the body of Barbara Raposa was discovered. It's not. Here's the problem.
What?
The reason why it says remains
is because it's not all of her.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Barbara Raposa was discovered in the woods behind a local printing plant in the same manner Doreen was found, tied with her hands behind her head or behind her back and her skull crushed.
But her head was there?
Yeah, but crushed.
Okay, but it was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Over time, it was discovered that a local prostitution ring was involved in satanic cult-like rituals. Detectives went undercover and discovered that cult leaders Carl Drew and Robin Murphy had been conducting rituals in the forest. Sex worker Karen Marsden told detectives about the satanic rituals and confessed that she knew Doreen and Barbara were sacrificed.
Oh, okay.
Weeks later, she failed to make her follow-up interview.
Oh.
6 months later, her remains were found in Westport Beach. In 1980, Drew and Murphy were arrested and convicted.
Yikes.
Yeah. And lastly, Assonet Ledge is the site of many suicides.
There's always one of those.
Yes, where people who have never considered suicide, supposedly, are said to get the sudden urge to jump. This is also where the Puckawudgies lure people.
Puckawudgies?
Yes.
Be nice, you Puckawudgie.
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 Puckwudgie. I said it wrong.
Puckwudgie. Whatever.
That's
Either
okay.
way, cute name.
They're kind of cute.
Did you see a picture of them?
Yeah. I saw a drawing of them. Do you want to see?
I do. I want to see a drawing of a Puckawudgie.
Let's look one up. Don't look. Oh, they look like.
That's less cute.
Puckwudgie. Like.
That's more cute.
That's not what I saw.
They're not that cute. They're not as cute as I was hoping.
That's not the.
They almost look like Fraggles on acid.
Okay. Do you want to hear my theory?
Yes.
So, Puckwudgie. They have been seen in the Bridgewater Triangle, but they've also been seen in other places. I think.
Yeah.
That on the night that you and I got lost in Utah.
No.
When I saw.
You think we saw a Puckwudgie?
A badger fox. I think it was a Puckwudgie.
Okay, it was a fox.
It was standing on two legs.
No, it wasn't.
It was. It was upright.
Maybe it
Maybe it leaped.
No, it might
forward.
have did one of those I'm looking, where they kind of go up on their hind legs to look and then ran. And that's what you saw.
And I was very alarmed that it was
that was a horrifying evening.
Yeah, so essentially B and I were driving from Chicago to Los Angeles. And there's a long stretch in Utah.
The Red Rocks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 250 miles or something like that.
No, it's not. It's 120 miles.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's more than that.
It can't be more than that because
I think I remember
some
seeing
cars
signs.
Can't even make it that far. Like your car wouldn't make it that far.
No, I think it was like 283 miles. It's something like very
That's like
specific.
my whole gas tank.
Yeah, that's why they're like gas up before you leave this area.
But that we didn't. There's no signs that says that.
Technically, because I've done that drive before and we saw it. And that's why I remembered.
It was very dark.
Yeah. It was night and I don't think we noticed.
It was like after 10 o'clock at night. And there's no cell service.
No.
There's no cars other than truck drivers. And we are 24-year-olds.
Yeah, we were youngins.
And we had our 2 cats in the car.
Yeah.
And my gas light turned on. And then we saw this magical sign that said, that had a little gas station symbol. We're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, we're not going to die in the middle of nowhere.
We turn at the exit.
12 miles
and we're like,
down this dark gravel road, you will find a gas station. We were like, 12 miles?
And we're like, there's no guarantee that there's actually going to be a gas station
No,
here.
or that it'll even be open. And I literally had like 25 miles of gas left. It said it.
So we were taking a risk, and we knew it.
I sped, which is probably very stupid, but I sped as fast as I could. And we pull up to this gas station, and imagine a gas station in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Exactly. This looked like the neighborhood in House of Wax.
It did.
If you've ever seen House of Wax.
It was old-fashioned pumps. It was terrifying. And this gentleman, was watching us from the window when we pulled up, and he comes out, and I shit you not, has one arm.
Yes, one arm man. That, it's like, I hope you don't forget that detail.
Don't forget the one arm part. And his sleeve was safety pinned closed, and he comes over to us, and I mean, this is an exact impersonation. He goes, "That pump don't work." And I was like, okay, all right. I get back in my car and I speed to the next pump, and Tanya's just in the car like, he's gonna eat the cats, he's gonna eat the cats. And he's just standing there watching me pump gas.
And then he goes, y'all don't look like you're from around here. Y'all look like them city folk.
Like, what? What movie are we in? What movie? Who scripted this man with one arm to speak like this?
We were like, yeah, we're from LA. And he was like, oh, yeah. But he was actually very nice.
He was very nice, and I feel very bad, and I'm so sorry. I pointed out your one arm, sir. I don't know. You're probably a war vet, and I suck. But you were scaring the shit out of us.
We were already on edge.
So as soon as that gas was filled, I get in my car. We speed out. It takes me probably 5 miles before I realize I'm not even on the road.
Yeah.
I'm driving on the side of the road because I just want to get the hell out of there. And then we see the fox badger that has been a 10-year fight over whether it was a fox or a badger.
Now it's a pukwudgie.
It's a pukwudgie now, apparently.
Yep. I'm decided.
Yep.
That pump don't work. We say this all the time now still.
That pump don't work. And mind you, our mothers are worrywarts. They are anxiety-induced mothers who, the mere thought of their child getting a splinter drives them to hysterics. And I didn't tell my mom this story for a while because I was like, she's going to have a heart attack. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years after the fact. She's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe she's just going to have a heart attack. She laughed so hard
at our dumbasses.
She was crying. And I'm like, I'm glad that you find your daughter lost in Utah in the middle of the night in the Red Rocks with no cell service, thinking she's about to get eaten by a one-armed man. Hilarious.
Oh, it was awful. And we spent the last, no joke, we only had 30 minutes left of our stretch to get to the hotel that we were going to stay at for the night. But we wouldn't have made it.
No.
But we spent the last 30 minutes of that drive completely dead silent.
Just dead quiet. No shaking.
We were just not, and then we got to the hotel and we both just looked at each other and just were like, okay.
That sucked.
That sucked, but we made it. What a story.
No. Oh, jeez Louise.
What a great story.
So
my
word of advice.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
If you're driving this northern route from Chicago to Los Angeles, gas up.
Yeah. Look it up. Look up the area. I don't know where it is, but just be
gas
prepared.
Up before the Red Rocks.
Yeah. So my sources were an Enterprise news article titled, "What is the Bridgewater Triangle Anyway? A look at the dark and paranormal tales of this window area of unexplained occurrences."
Okay.
By Susanna Sudborough.
Long-winded title, but okay.
Yeah, most are.
Do you?
And obviously the documentary I keep referring is a documentary called Bridgewater Triangle, and I watched it on Amazon Prime.
Fun.
And I'll post that. It was actually really interesting. I think a lot of people would just like that documentary.
Yeah.
I had heard of the Bridgewater Triangle before, and I found it super fascinating. Of course, I find it fascinating because, as B knows, and as some of my friends know, I am obsessed with the Bermuda Triangle. So this is kind of like a land version of that.
Did you watch this with your mom?
No, I watched this with my headphones on, and because I needed to pause it a lot and take notes. Yeah. It was really creepy, but really interesting. I loved all the paranormal stuff that happens.
Yeah, that's always fun. I like when they cross.
Yeah.
Pollinate.
I mean, this one was I went with lore because there's just so much of it that I felt like, because there's so much of it that it had to be lore, because there's a lot of lore that comes with the whole idea. The whole idea of the Bridgewater Triangle being this tear in the veil.
Yeah.
Is lore.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, this is a fun one because there's so many bullet points.
To be fair, paranormal is lore in a sense.
Totally.
Could be fictitious.
Yes.
Could not. I mean, I obviously believe otherwise because I have experienced otherwise.
Yeah.
To some, could be considered lore.
Yeah. So to anybody who lives in that area of Massachusetts, I'm sorry that I've sufficiently freaked you out, but I'm sure you've heard of it.
Go Pukwudgie.
Go Pukwudgie hunting. Bring us one.
Bring us a Pukwudgie.
Moosh and Izzy want a friend. We need a new assistant anyway.
Yeah. Clearly, these two are useless.
What are we going to name our Pukwudgie?
Pukwudgie. We can't just... It's like the people who name their cat.
Yeah, no, you can't name it Pukwudgie. That's a terrible name for a Pukwudgie. Peter?
Peter the Pukwudgie?
Peter.
No.
I think that name is really dorky, but it's kind of cute.
Peter. It just makes me think of a penis.
Okay, anyway. Paranormal. Should we,
Yeah.
Should we tell the friends about paranormal?
I don't know what's more horrifying about this story. It's actual real life existence or its afterlife existence. But this is definitely going to be one that probably most of the listeners are going to recognize.
Ooh.
But let's start in Spring City in Chester County, Pennsylvania. On January 23rd, 1903.
We always accidentally theme, like this is an East Coast theme.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah. It's very true.
All right, take me there.
January 23rd, 1903. The Eastern State Institution for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic was commissioned.
Okay.
A place where those with mental illness and epilepsy could live, learn, and be taken care of in a safe environment.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, there would be more than 20 buildings in total to make up the campus. It would be most commonly known as Pennhurst Asylum. Do you know about Pennhurst Asylum?
I have heard of Pennhurst Asylum, yeah. I don't know many stories about it, but I have heard of it.
Well, you're about to learn today. The facility quickly fell into disrepair and poor living conditions due to overcrowding, lack of staffing, and lack of funds. Regardless of age, all residents of Pennhurst were called children, despite many being adults.
Oh.
The reported average age in 1974 was 36 years old. On average, they would spend 21 years of their life at Pennhurst.
Oh.
9 MDs and 2 psychologists were responsible for over 2,800 patients.
Oh my God.
That's it.
Okay, like what's the daycare rule? Like
it's like 2 people for every, or like
10 kids or something.
Yeah,
like that?
something like that.
This does not equate.
9 MDs and 2 psychologists.
Oh God.
I mean, it had hundreds of caregivers, but these are not qualified MDs or psychologists. They're just caregivers.
Right.
Patients suffered from physical or mental abnormalities, as well as mute, deaf, and blind persons or people guilty of, quote, offensive habits or, quote, imperfect speech. When admitted, they'd be classified as either, these are their words, not mine, they'd be classified as either imbecile or insane, healthy or epileptic. As time went on, they were made to house immigrants, criminals, and orphans as well. It was society's solution to get rid of anyone considered, quote, undesirable. The campus was like a self-contained city where the residents were in charge of all the tasks to keep it running. So some of these people can even feed themselves properly, and they're in charge of keeping an entire self-contained city running. In 1913, the Commission for the Care of the Feeble-Minded, which declared those suffering from mental illness unfit for citizenship and a menace to the peace.
Oh, good.
Forcing them to be taken into the custodial care of the government to keep them away from the general population and for everyone's, quote, safety, and also to keep them from reproducing. Forced sterilization was common.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask that next.
Yeah. At its worst, the facility was 900 patients over capacity.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Over.
Holy
shit.
So these...
Sorry.
Yeah.
Pardon my Not French.
So they don't, 900 overcapacity means they don't have beds, they don't have rooms, they don't have clothes, they don't have anything.
Right, they're just probably sleeping on the floor.
In the hallways.
Yeah.
Patients would be chained to adult-sized cribs and cages by their hands and feet. Restraints were often made with rope or torn sheets. So they were just tied by their wrists and hands to beds, adult-sized cages, things like that. Straitjackets were also commonplace. Visitors to the facility would claim to see the patients in the hallways naked and unwashed, with no place to sleep, malnourished, and the walls covered in feces.
Right. Moosh just literally jumped over Izzy's head like he's Peter Pan or something.
Sure, he is Peter Pan.
Yeah, he did flies.
In 1968, a documentary series called Suffer the Little Children revealed the horrors of the facilities.
Did you watch this?
I sure did.
Oh, I want to see this.
A doctor at the facility is actually named Dr. Fear.
No.
Yes.
This is like a novel.
Yes.
Holy crap.
He's actually named Dr. Fear. And he admits on tape in this documentary to threatening and punishing patients. In one instance, Dr. Fear injected the patient with the most painful injection that would not cause damage, simply to punish them. Oftentimes, Dr. Fear would put patients more classified as autistic, so still highly functioning and not necessarily low IQ, into wards with severely mentally ill patients. He referred to this as downgrading them with the specific intent to degrade them.
Bro.
Yeah. And get the other patients to make fun of them to cause them to be less hyperactive.
Like Dr. Fear sounds like somebody that
Stephen King created.
Somebody wrote and then somebody said that's too obvious or corny. You can't name your character that.
Yeah. It's like he became a doctor, his last name is Fear, and he knew, well, I have no choice. I have to be the villain.
I have to be evil Dr. Fear.
He also admits to drugging them if they are overly hyperactive rather than providing them with the necessary psychological help to address the issue. In the documentary, they speak to a very functional boy named John, who was just not given regular education and was born to delinquent parents. So he was sent to Pennhurst. He is not mentally ill, just not given the proper care to prosper.
Right.
He was left to Pennhurst when he was abandoned and punished for simple things like standing where he wasn't supposed to.
What?
Yeah. And his punishment would be to send him to the ward with the highest level of mentally ill patients. John's speech regressed, and he began to wear a blindfold to cope with social interactions. Dr. Fear even admits in this documentary on tape that there is nothing wrong with John, and he could thrive normally in the right care, yet they refuse to care for him. They interview John in this documentary, and he is sitting there blindfolded and barely able to communicate because he's basically just mentally regressed from trauma.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That he had no reason to be in that place or to be treated that way. The documentary shows footage of extremely malnourished, mentally ill people of all ages who are dirty and left to their own devices. The physical state of the patients looks more akin to Holocaust victims rather than hospital or school residents.
Wow. Oh.
When the facility was opened, it was a time when the mentally ill, and I'm sorry if I am, I looked up the right thing to say to refer to people coping with mental illness, and I saw a bunch of different things. I wanted to make sure I was referring to them with respect. I saw you can call them mentally ill or people suffering from mental illness. But if I am wrong, I apologize for that. And you can feel free to comment on this episode and let me know what I should be calling them.
Yes.
I tried. So yeah, the documentary shows footage of extremely mentally ill people of all ages. I already said that. When the facility was open, it was a time when the mentally ill were treated by segregating them from the neurotypical. And oftentimes they were sterilized, as I said.
Right.
In 1968, when the doc was made, they were no longer sterilizing them, but still segregating them 25 miles out of town where they were neglected and left to decay.
Yeah. It was basically just a place that you could store a person.
Yeah.
Until they died.
I don't want this child.
Yeah.
This is not what I signed on for. Leave them there to rot. Forget about them. Many lived without love or kindness showed to them due to the stigma surrounding their illness or lack of education. The asylum finally closed in 1987 after a former resident won a large legal dispute citing intense physical, emotional, and psychological abuse.
Amen.
By nurses and caregivers who not only abused the patients themselves, but arranged for other patients to bully and assault. other patients.
Wow.
It was like their fight club. They
Yeah.
they like got joy out of torturing them.
Wow.
The horrors suffered there led to reform and changed how the legal system and society treated those with special needs. So there's a plus size to the horror that went on there, at least. But the horrors suffered there also led to Pennhurst becoming one of the most notoriously haunted locations.
Yeah, I would think so.
And recent renovations to open the tunnels and clear out entrances to make the campus more accessible to visitors has stirred up even more activity.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy,
oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy.
So the building's most known for activity.
Is there some activity there?
There's some activity.
Okay. Let's do some activities.
Some activity. The buildings most known for activity are the Quaker Building, the Mayflower Building, and the Philadelphia Building tunnels.
Oh,
we don't like tunnels.
No, I really got gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
No tunnels.
The Mayflower Building itself consists of 3 stories and a basement. The basement was largely a recreational area, complete with plexiglass window views for nurses, but also housed maintenance, including the boiler room.
Uh-huh.
We don't like boiler rooms either.
Uh-huh.
The first floor contains a series of residential areas with recreational day rooms, dorms, and a nurse's station. The second level is largely the same, but with an open space layout fitted with cubicle-like partitions and filled to the brim with stained mattresses. Mm-hmm. The third floor is host to a series of more private closet-sized bedrooms that were previously reserved for staff and higher functioning patients.
Okay.
Here there have been reports of full-body apparitions, shadow figures, banging, odd temperatures, voices that can be heard without the use of EVP equipment.
Oh.
So with just your naked ear.
Yeah.
On one occasion, the current owner and groundskeeper heard someone on the top floor shout, "Help me," while he was outside on the lawn.
Oh.
He rushed into the building, and that caused all the motion sensors and alarms to go off because there was nobody in the building setting those off until the owner entered the building.
Wow.
So that just proved to the owner, that there was nobody there.
The hair on my arm is standing.
But he still went up to the top floor to investigate because sometimes there would be homeless people that would sleep in the asylum. There would also be squatters or just kids goofing around.
Right.
But he found nobody.
Oh.
Let's see. During an investigation using a spirit box, the investigator asked if they could see them, like if the spirits could see the humans.
Right.
The spirit box replied yes. When they proceeded to ask how they could see them, they replied as ghosts, meaning they're seeing the humans as ghosts.
That begs a very interesting question.
About the parallel universe theory?
Yes.
Like they think they're seeing ghosts, and we think we're seeing ghosts?
Yes.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that one.
That begs, well, that's a great question to ask a ghost.
How are you seeing us?
Do you see
us?
What
do we look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we appear to you?
Right.
Interesting.
Yep.
I like that question.
Yeah.
Good job, investigator.
A father and daughter duo claimed they heard their names being called as if from the other. So the entities were imitating them to the other. And they had investigated Pennhurst often. And this was a common occurrence. So the daughter would be somewhere, she would hear her dad call her name, but he was nowhere, and vice versa.
Wow.
So it was a lot like that house that was based off The Conjuring.
Yes. That would mimic
exactly
the voice, yeah.
But the daughter said, the interviewer that the investigator was talking to said, that sounds really menacing. That sounds predatory. And she said, or demonic.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when it's imitating and calling your name, it's demonic.
I'm either cold or really chilled.
Yeah. In the basement, an entity known as the King is most known.
menacing king? Is it Timothée Chalamet?
No, it's our king.
Heyo.
A menacing figure popular with the paranormal enthusiasts who frequent Pennhurst. Investigator Ashley claims the king was a maintenance worker here from the 40s or 50s. This was his domain, the boiler room. He was not very well, and he did not treat the patients well. Sometimes you'll smell cigar smoke down here. He is known to come across on EVPs as a shadow figure, and then he'll even touch you.
No, I don't know. Do not consent.
He is not a nice person, and he does like the ladies.
Ew, no, don't like us.
So they like to try and bait him a lot, bringing cigars and cigarettes down, trying getting him to talk. The thing about the king that's so crazy is that a lot of investigators have been able to have full, coherent conversations with him.
Oh.
Where he's fully responding.
Creepy.
Yes. And Ashley details one of these conversations.
Ashley.
Where she claimed he was standing behind them because she could feel him, so she asked where he was standing, and he told her, behind you. Yeah, and then,
I'm just laughing because I hate it.
Then a female voice. They heard a female voice warning them to run.
Oh, God.
And his voice kept interrupting her because he didn't want this female entity, to tell them to run. And they asked what he would do if they didn't run. And King said, choke.
Oh.
And earlier, when the men had gone down, these were the women down there by themselves. When the men had gone down, her father had said he had felt like something was choking him. And it didn't go away until he left the basement.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like you.
Yeah.
You are not Timothée Chalamet.
No.
You are not
nice. No, not an angel. So the tunnels in the Philadelphia building were constructed to go between buildings without being outside.
Oh, the tunnels.
We don't like, no. A confusing maze that patients oftentimes were left unattended in. Investigators and visitors claim unexplainable malfunctioning with electronics and equipment in the tunnels, as well as voices, laughing, shadow figures, full body apparitions, cold spots, anxiety attacks in people with no history of anxiety attacks, and being pushed or scratched or touched.
Festival of fun.
Just a festival. It's a carnival of fun in the tunnels.
God. What joy. What joy. What joy. What joy.
Unexplainable piano music could be heard, at times loudly, from the upstairs, only for no music device to be found, as well as lights being seen on the top floor when there's no power supplied to the building.
Do you just walk in there and it's just like a free-for-all?
Basically.
It's like a carnival of ghosts?
I mean, think about the trauma attached to these buildings.
Oh my God.
It's impossible for it to not be just a kamikaze of haunted activity.
Woof. Woof.
Other things reported to happen when visiting the asylum is the feeling of receiving a shot, like a nurse is giving you a shot.
No, I don't like those. Alive.
A little girl can be seen darting into corners, and a man sitting in the common area alone.
Why is she going into corners? Nobody put baby in the corner.
She just darts. She darts around.
She's like Izzy.
Yeah, she's a darter.
That's actually exactly what Izzy does.
What's crazy is I was watching, one of my sources is this A&E documentary, and I was watching it, and they were sleeping in it for some reason. And, they had lights kind of down the hall, and they were sleeping in an open space.
Oh.
And literally, as soon as they were like, okay, good night, you heard banging down the hall, and then you see a shadow run across the hall. And then they all scream, run to one side, get in beds with each other, basically. Yeah. And then they're like, what the hell was that? Or something. Then you hear the bang again, and you see it run across the hall again. It's like so clearly a shadow that's child size running across the hall.
Yeah, I'd be just like, stick me in the middle of my friends.
Yeah.
In a cuddle puddle.
Yeah.
And just put me to bed.
So this investigation was crazy. It's considered the longest the longest running investigation in history, because what they did, it was a group of investigators that went and lived at Pennhurst for 2 weeks and investigated 24/7.
Woof.
For 2 weeks. They lived there. They slept in these buildings, these dilapidated, horrible, haunted buildings.
Like, did they come out
for 2 weeks?
With like
trauma? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. So Pennhurst served as inspiration for American Horror Story Asylum.
Yeah, I was going to say, This sounds like Asylum.
It also served as the filming location for several projects, including Pearl Harbor. So the hospital in Pearl Harbor was filmed there.
Sure.
And M. Night Shyamalan's Glass.
Oh.
So the dilapidated...
Yeah.
Have we watched Glass yet? No. So the dilapidated building where it shows them in the trailer and they're like chained to chairs. That's Pennhurst.
Holy balls.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I would not. I'd be like, this place is haunted. We are not filming here. You know how many production issues we're going to have?
Oh, so many.
It's not worth it.
So you can book tours to investigate the asylum yourself. as well as attend haunted house attractions during Halloween.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
The haunted house attraction is widely panned by mental health professionals for using the suffering and mental health of the patients of Penhurst for profit and entertainment and exploiting the patients even further because it's asylum themed.
Of course it is.
I mean, obviously it is. And it's at best, I mean, at worst, at best it's tacky.
Well, yeah.
At worst, it is just blindly exploiting these poor people. But, I hate to say it, I would go.
I would be there.
I would be like, this is wrong, I'm against it. And then I would pay them my money and I would go through it.
Yeah, you probably would. I would probably be like, not for moral reasons, but just for sanity reasons.
So what you're saying is we're going to film ourselves going through this place at one point.
Why?
You just said
I'm just dying to go. I just can't wait to go.
No, you know who you're like? Okay, so I also watched, one of my sources was the BuzzFeed Supernatural episode where they go to Penhurst. You're Ryan, and I'm Shane. You're Ryan going into these places and absolutely shitting it the entire time, freaking out. And I'm Shane, like, that was a bird. Like,
that wasn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm Shane, like, deadpanning it the whole time.
Yeah, my imagination is too vast for these kinds of things. And
my favorite part of it is when they walk into the asylum, Shane asks Ryan if this is the episode where he finally has his full-on mental breakdown on camera.
Oh God! Oh, I want to watch
that. And it was pretty close. Yeah, it's not long.
I know they're not long. So when we're done recording, I'll watch that.
My sources were obviously the Stuff for the Little Children documentary, which you can find on YouTube, and I'll put on our Patreon. It's only about 56 minutes long. During the court, so the guy in charge of, his name is Bill, in charge of this investigation, halfway through is no longer part of it because he basically fell ill from exhaustion and depression from dealing with the asylum and seeing the patients and the disrepair. So somebody else had to take over.
Wow.
But his
Yikes.
work, I believe his name is Bill Conlon. His work is what eventually led to it being shut down. So
good.
He did really good work. The world's biggest ghost hunt, Penhurst Asylum on A&E. So if you have a cable subscription or an A&E subscription, you can watch it. It's an 1.5-hour special that I wasn't able to get completely through, but it was very interesting. A Ripley's.com article called Spending a Night at the Haunted Penhurst Asylum. And A Living Nightmare, The History of Penhurst Asylum from thelineup.com.
Wow.
So, yeah. I mean, I probably didn't even scratch the surface. And oddly enough, very, 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 very hard to find written documentation of the hauntings at Penhurst. Like, you have to watch stuff.
Yeah, honestly, paranormal.
You have to watch stuff.
Pretty common.
I'm pretty positive that Cracker Zach Baggins has been there.
Bagans
has been there. Whatever. Zach Bagans.
Zach Bagans.
I'm pretty sure there's a Ghost Adventures episode at Penhurst. I'm pretty sure there's probably Ghost Hunters episode. I've actually seen the Ghost Hunters episode of Penhurst.
Right.
It's been on my list of crazy places that I really want to experience for some reason, like Eastern State Pen.
Right.
And is it Waverly Hills?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Waverly House?
No, it's Waverly Hills.
Oh, Waverly.
It was the tuberculosis hospital.
Yeah.
Turned asylum.
Oof.
Yeah. So
that one gave me goosey bumpies.
Yeah, that one got to you a little bit.
It sure did.
Sure did.
Oh,
sorry.
Wow. Well, on to something wonderful.
What's your how wonderful? I think I know.
We watched Wonder Woman 1984 last night.
It's not what I would thought you were going to say. But yes, that was fun.
And that was
really
fun.
It gets a bad rap.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it.
It was very entertaining, and Chris Pine, the Superior Pine, was...
Yes, the Superior
Chris, sorry. Well, he's also the Superior Pine. But the Superior Chris was delightful, as always.
Yeah, and what I really loved about it was, I think the reason why it has mixed reviews is because people want to put so much weight into everything.
Yeah. Nowadays. Can't even enjoy superhero movies anymore.
Yeah, I just liked the lightness of it. I liked the message.
It wasn't light. But the message was, good prevails over
Yeah.
all.
And it's you can't always get what you wish for.
Yeah.
And sometimes the things you want comes at a cost, and sacrifice is your greatest gift.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really
nice.
Interesting message.
And if you don't care about the message, you can watch Chris Pine try on 80s outfits, and it's a joy.
Oh, he's such a joy in it.
I tweeted that name one time that Chris Pine has sucked, and you can't.
No.
And I was scared that somebody was going to pull receipts, and nope. It's just a whole bunch of people agreeing. Somebody commented that even if the movie sucked, he didn't suck.
No, exactly.
It's like, that's the truest truth.
He's just wonderful.
Remember when he was in The Princess Diaries,
yes.
A Royal Engagement, and his British accent was appalling, yet he was still delightful?
Because he's just a delight.
He is. Chris Pine, everybody. The superior Chris.
It is.
Is that your How Wonderful? Really?
Yeah. Well, and then I also, I tested negative. Oh, don't you want that to be your Wonderful?
No, that's not my How Wonderful.
Oh. Yeah, we were pretty excited to see that Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde went out together.
We were super pumped about that.
We just love love. That's pretty wonderful.
Yeah, we love love, and we love Olivia. She's a baddie.
Yeah, she's great. So you can have our man.
You can have our patron saint, Harry Styles. You know what? We're just happy he's got some love. He had somebody to snuggle up to at the holidays.
Yeah, good for you guys.
Good for you guys. It's COVID world, and his dating pool is pretty limited.
Yeah, and I tested negative for COVID today after the holidays.
Sure, so
that's pleasant and nice to hear.
It's a good time for us.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's your How Wonderful?
I'm side noting our How Wonderful, because you didn't say it, and I'm very shocked.
Our?
Yeah, it's also Harry Styles related. He released the Treat People with Kindness music video.
That's a great How
with
Wonderful.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
I didn't realize that did happen after we last recorded. Yeah.
And it is so delightful. Tanya cried.
I literally was smiling ear to ear and crying like a bitch.
So if you want to see,
crying crying in a cool way.
Crying in a cool way. So if you want to see,
if you're a Harry Styles fan, you know what that means.
If you want to be delighted, absolutely delighted by dancing and joy, then go on YouTube, Harry Styles fan or not, Fleabag fan or not, and watch the Treat People with Kindness music video.
It is a great way to kick off 2021, guys.
It is. But my How Wonderful is actually you.
Why me?
It's you because you put in so much effort to this podcast. You guys don't even know.
Oh, please.
The amount of effort she puts into this podcast. She is always on Twitter hyping us up. She is always doing research. She is always finding ways to improve the sound quality. She spent her days off uploading and editing, and all I do is research and talk crap into a microphone and write a blog post here and there. And she holds down the fort, man.
I just love doing this.
I know you do.
And
I love you for loving to do it, because we wouldn't be on episode 19.
We are.
If it weren't for you, because I have depression and that makes me procrastinate everything.
I just like having a task.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah. And if it excites you and makes you happy, then we will do this for as long as it excites you and makes you happy. And if it ever becomes overwhelming, then sayonara.
Basically, we just need to hire an assistant who can actually edit the episodes with opposable thumbs.
Yeah, with someone that understands a computer and doesn't just lay on it.
Yeah, I think she thinks she's trying to be sexy, and I'm like, this is an HR issue.
It's an HR issue.
You cannot try and seduce me while laying on my laptop while I'm trying to edit. It's just very disrespectful.
It really is.
Oh, well, that's really sweet. I love you.
I love you, and I just wanted people to understand Tanya Lee is the brains and brawn of this operation, and I am the court jester, and that's okay.
You are wonderful.
Well, stinks. What you doing? Where are you going? Oh, it's topic time. I'm like, is it another present for me?
Every time I go to get the little
I know, I don't understand what's going on.
You think I just disappear.
I do.
It's like my headphones come off and you're like, she's gone. She's vanished.
I thought you just decided the episode's over for you.
She's vanished.
It's your dropping the mic.
Literally.
Yes.
Okay.
You should pick first. I always pick first.
Okay, I'm gonna go that.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but we'll find out.
I'm gonna go this one.
That one wanted to jump at you.
It did, and I didn't want it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. What'd you get?
Exorcisms, demon possessions.
I got awful roulette.
Woo! We love an awful roulette moment. I'm excited. Oh man, oh man, oh man.
So this is going to be a quirky episode.
Quirky? Yeah, when I think exorcisms and demon possessions, I think that's quirky.
I already put aside the ones that we've already done.
Okay.
Cults.
Fun. Okay.
It's been a while, so I'm ready.
It's been a minute.
I've got some ideas.
All right. Cults and demons.
And demons.
Fun times.
Rock and roll, baby.
Fun times.
Great
all right.
times. Well,
where can they find us?
They can find us at www.howawfulpodcast.com. We are on all the social medias. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we are at How Awful Podcast. You can also search us on YouTube. Just search for How Awful Podcast, and there you will find transcribed episodes. We are working through them. We'll get those uploaded sometime in the near future.
I am going to do it, I promise.
This year.
Oh, Jesus.
It's okay. I'm behind too.
Yeah.
But
it's hard to do because it is 0% fun and takes up so much time.
It is not fun. But we care about making sure that our hearing impaired friends can listen. I don't know if anybody has been listening on YouTube. If you have been, let us know.
And we can check the views.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, if you're
if
that's your source, let us know. But we do upload them regardless of the transcriptions being added yet. So
yeah.
We also have a Patreon, which is essentially a place where you can come support us. And that's patreon.com/howawfulpodcast. On patreon.com, we do have some goodies that we do not put on social media. It's
their goodies, not your goodies.
Yeah, it's like a private club. If you want to be part of the How Awful Club, that's where you join.
Yeah.
So join us. Be a part of our cult. I shouldn't have said that.
No.
Exposed us.
It's probably also taken already because the My Favorite Murder people call their Patreon supporters their fan cult.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Everybody's
already taken all the cute stuff.
You can also email us. Please do.
We can call our fans the puckwudgies. The
puckwudgies?
Puckwudgies.
Oh, sure. You guys are puckwudgies.
You guys are puckwudgies.
You can email us at howawfulpodcast@gmail.com.
Sure can.
We would love to hear your personal stories. We did get a message from somebody on Instagram.
With a personal story?
Who told us that they were going to see a medium,
right? Send it. Yes.
Yeah, we'd love to hear how that went for you. So yeah, just give us a shout out. I guess you don't have to email us. You could DM us on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook and let us know what's up. But an easy way to do that is also by emailing us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's us.
That is us.
We are the How Awful Podcast. I'm Tanya Lee.
I'm B.
How awful, how awful, how awful, how awful. It sounds like waffle. I bought waffles.
Wow.
I'm going to have one tomorrow.
I'm so excited for you. As always, we've been B and Tanya Lee. Our logo was created by MJ Savard, and our theme music courtesy of Nikki Lou.